Welcome to Catholic Mom Mindset, a daily show where you learn to walk closely with the Holy Spirit so you can live the life God is calling you to. I'm your host, Sterling Jaquith. Let us begin. Welcome back. Yesterday we were talking about manuals, particularly in marriage, and today I want to talk about a grandmother manual, your mom or your mother-in-law. So a manual is where we say, listen, you need to behave this way in order for me to feel a certain way. It's like an actual manual, a rule book. And a lot of times, all the rules in the manual are not things we've communicated to the other person. We just hope that they guess what it is. And so I wanted to use as an example the manual of grandmas should want to watch and babysit our kids. Sometimes we have this idea that grandmas, whether it's our mom or our mother-in-law, should want to watch the kids or at least be willing to. And when we have this manual, we believe that it should be this way, and that's what good grandmothers do. Then when we end up with a mom or a mother-in-law who does not agree and says, actually, I do not want to watch your little kids, and I am unwilling to do that, or I'm unwilling to be happy about it. Because sometimes you just want the willingness for them to do it. Sometimes you guys want them to be happy about doing it. Those are two different manuals. But either way, just notice when you're having these thoughts, well, she should do that. Almost anytime we're using the word should, it's a manual. Because I'll ask you, well, what's the problem if she doesn't do that? And you're like, well, then I'm upset. So then we know it's a manual. So it's not actually written in stone anywhere. The grandmas have to be willing to watch your kids or enjoy it. And listen, if I was your friend and we were at the park and you were saying, oh my gosh, it's so terrible. My mom lives near me and she doesn't help watch the kids at all. As your friend, I would say, oh my goodness, that is so terrible. I can't believe she doesn't do that. That seems totally unfair. But as a life coach, I will say, you thinking that she should do this is stealing your peace. And I would explore it with you. I would say, when you think my mom should watch the kids, knowing full well that she isn't or doesn't want to, and you feel angry, from the feeling of anger, how are you showing up in your life? Well, I complain about it to my husband a lot. I don't pick up the phone when my mom calls. I'm mad at her. And then I'm like eating lots of cookies out of the pantry because I feel terrible that my mom doesn't want to watch my kids. I'm a little bit mad at God that he isn't making her. What does that model look like? What is the thought that you're having? What is the feeling that comes from that thought? And what are the actions that are showing up in your life? Your result is going to be that you shouldn't act like that. Your thought is, my mom shouldn't be doing this. And your result will be, you shouldn't be acting like this. Because you're probably acting a little immature, a little judgy. Whose business is it whether your mom should watch the kids or not? It's God's business. He'll either put it on her heart to do it or he hasn't, and he's not calling her to that. It's not biblical that grandmas have to want to watch their grandchildren and be willing to do it. Now, again, when I put my friend hat on, I'm like, I kind of think grandmas should do that. And I'd be frustrated if I had a grandma who lived by and didn't help watch my kids. That has happened to me. But as a life coach and as a Catholic woman who manages her mind, I know that when I go down that path, I'm allowing this person's actions to dictate how I feel. I'm allowing mom or mother-in-law's choices to steal my peace. So I'm no longer walking very closely with the Lord, and I use peace as a barometer for that. Because when I'm walking very closely with the Lord, I have a lot of peace, I have a lot of joy, a lot of love, a lot of patience, a lot of gentleness. And when you hear me kind of ranting about how my mom won't watch the kids, do I sound like I'm walking closely with the Lord? And it's just a manual. It's just a made up list of rules that I said, listen, I can't be happy unless you behave in the way that I'm expecting you to behave. I think women have a deep need for control, but most of us are misfiring it, trying to control the people around us instead of controlling our thinking and how we show up to every situation. That is the holy kind of control that God is calling you to. So just notice the manuals that you have for people in your life, particularly your parents and your in-laws. What are you very sure that they should be doing differently than they are? And why do you think that? And are you allowing this story that you've made up, hey, they should be doing this, to steal your peace? And I want you to turn it around and just wonder, like, how is it actually really perfect for them that they're not choosing to watch the kids? How does that make a lot of sense? How might that actually be what God is asking of all of us in this situation? You don't have to agree with that yet, but I just like flipping the situation around and saying, how is this actually the best thing for everyone? Just helps me get out of my own mind a little bit. All right, so that was just an example of manuals with mothers. Thank you so much for listening and have a blessed day. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Catholic Mom Mindset. To learn more about growing closer to the Holy Spirit, check out our free resources at madeforgreatness.co. Thank you so much for listening and have a blessed day.